We are here to talk about group readings. And I absolutely love groups. I think I'm fortunate that I pretty much love everything I do, frankly. But groups have a little special place in my heart, and they are different than private readings. So I would like to touch on first, what are the different types of groups? And you may see groups being listed in various ways. You may see demonstration, platform, or group reading, depending on where you are or who the medium is. Because if you're from other countries, groups are often referred to as platforms or demonstration of mediumship. And I will just shortly, in a moment, just let you know what the differences are. So first, groups can be large groups that you see on TV, or if you've been to some very well-known mediums such as John Edward or Teresa Caputo, James von Prague, you might be in a group of 3,000 people. And with that size of group, that actually becomes a demonstration of mediumship. So it's a demonstration, obviously, because not everybody can be read, but it's a great way to see a medium in action and get some messages as well. Then you might also see a smaller group where maybe you have 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, a nice size group. That's still considered a demonstration of mediumship because, once again, not everyone will get a reading. It's just not humanly possible for a medium to read that many people. And we'll talk about that just a little bit more in a bit. And then you can, sometimes some mediums offer intimate groups. I myself offer intimate groups. And intimate groups, depending on the medium, will have anywhere from 6 to 10 people. And in intimate groups, every person gets a reading. So it's most mediums will do 6 to 8 people, but there are a few who will do as many as 10. And intimate groups also can be done online. So that separates them out from, obviously, the larger groups, because with an intimate group, everybody is on video. Online, when you do it online, everyone is on video. Everybody can interact, pay attention. Everybody learns, intimately, right? So, and everybody gets a reading. It works the same online as it does in person, particularly with intimate groups. I've done a larger group online, and that a larger group online is in a way like doing a radio reading, frankly, because it's just not possible to be able to see everyone. And so we have to kind of fine tune down who the reading is for. So it works very differently online, but it still can work. I'm sure some of you may have seen Facebook Lives. Essentially, that's like doing a larger group reading just online. So that's just a little bit about the difference. Now, platform mediumship or demonstration of mediumship or group readings, it's all the same thing. It's just based on the terminology of where medium is from. In the UK, they use platform and demonstration a lot. So if you hear those different words, it's really the same thing. So you may think to yourself, why would I go to a group reading? What's the point of going to a group reading, especially a larger group reading, if I may not get read at all? There's actually a lot of benefits to going to group readings, especially, even bigger ones. For an intimate group reading, you will get a reading, and the investment is not the same as a private reading. So the cost is usually very different, but it's also a shorter reading. But it's also a good way to see if you like that medium. Perhaps you've heard some good things about the medium and you want a reading, but maybe you don't want to go to a large group, but you want to go, make sure you get a reading, but you're not sure you want to fully commit or invest for an individual reading. So that's a benefit of the intimate groups. Larger groups also are a very good way to get to know mediumship or the medium, to see if you like them, their style, you click. We're all different, so we all have, you want to be able to know that you will click with a medium before booking a reading. And in a large group reading, even though you may not get directly read, you will find that there will be messages for you to relate to. I'm stuttering my words, but there will be messages for you to relate to as well. And it's really interesting how it works, because every single group is different, and every single group, at least in my experience, has a theme for the evening, or the day. So it's really interesting how it works. But with a larger group, usually the investment is much smaller. And if you're new to mediumship or you're skeptical, it's a great way to go and experience what mediumship really is like, because it's very different than it's shown on TV. So, so that is one of the benefits. Also, you can go with a group of people and make an evening of it, have some fun. Hopefully you will get read in a large group reading. One never knows. So that's some of the benefits of going to these various group readings. And I would encourage any of you that do go to a larger group reading, really, really listen to the messages being given, because we have a special opportunity with those on the other side coming through, who are sharing messages not only about themselves, about their lives, which most of us can relate to on many aspects, but also about the other side sometimes. So there's so many things to learn from people, and a group reading is a great experience. So don't ever let a large group necessarily hold you back. The experience can be quite powerful and very moving. So in that case, it will be up to you to decide, do I want a group reading? If I do want to do a group reading, do I want to do a large group reading? Do I want to be a part of a mid-sized group reading? Those mid-sized group readings, like I said, anywhere from 20 to 100 people. Those usually are held at like spiritual stores and things. And just because it's of a moderate size, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good medium, and sometimes people like that smaller size versus being around 1,000 people, 3,000 people. And then with the intimate, you're going to get a reading. Now, there might be a rare instance that somebody does not get a reading in an intimate group reading, and in that space, then usually the person would be refunded. And that really has nothing to do with the individual or the medium. It's really about the people on the other side. So, but hopefully you can see the differences on, intimate, small, and large groups. Now, in my case, it's my policy that if somebody doesn't get a reading in an intimate group, it's only happened one time, but if they did not, then I just would refund them. But that's pretty rare instance. So I apologize for all my jitteriness. I'm in a different setup, so I'm hitting myself with my mic and everything, so I apologize for that. Now, how does a group reading differentiate from a private reading? Well, the thing is, in a group reading, you only have so much time, and so you won't get as in depth as you would with a private reading. So let's say you go to a group reading and you like the medium, but you would like more, right? You'd like, what else do my loved ones have to say? Or one person came through, but I wonder if other people would want to come through for me. So in that case, a private reading lends itself all to you, or to you and another person, or to you and your family, that it's all for you. So you're not, your loved ones on the other side know that the time is set up for you, and there's a fullness in the reading. And in my case, when I do private readings, it's not unusual for me to have multiple people come through. So having that time really sets up some intimacy. And it's really surprising too, who will come through in a private reading that maybe you don't expect, but you don't necessarily get that so much in a group reading. And you may think, why is that? Well, let's remember that in mediumship, we are connecting with people. They're on the other side, but they are still people. And because they are still connected to you, they're aware when the opportunity will present itself through a medium to connect with you. And so they will show up. So they'll show up obviously in a private reading, but they'll also show up in a group scenario. Now, here's where it gets interesting, especially from the medium's point of view. You have, let's just say you have 100 people in front of you, and in the medium's world, we wish we could seriously read every single person in that room. That would be our goal, but it's just not humanly possible to do so. So how does it work? Like how is somebody chosen for a group reading? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not the medium that chooses you, it's those on the other side. And there's many things behind this, and it's so fascinating to me. But you may have, let's just say you want to hear from a father, right? Now, you're in a group of 100. There might be 20 people in that group that want to hear from a father. So some of the fathers on the other side are going to have a stronger personality or be a little bit more, I call them a little bit pushy sometimes. So some people on the other side, they're just going to have a little bit more energy, a little bit more forcefulness, or a stronger need than some others. Now, so they will push onto the medium, get the medium's attention, and then draw them to you. So they set that up. Now, does that mean that the other 19 people whose dad, they want to hear from their dad, does that mean that their dad does not love them or is not there that night? No, not necessarily. It's just like here in the physical, some people are stronger than others. Some people need to be heard than others. A person in the group might have a deeper need than you in the moment. And so all of that is decided by those on the other side. Sometimes your dad may be showing up and he turns out to be very polite and says, oh, no, you go first, sir. So you do have some people on the other side that they're there and they still let somebody else go ahead of them. So that all of these things are taking place, particularly in the larger groups. There's just so much going on behind the scenes that you cannot see you yourself. But as a medium, I'm telling you, there's lots of activity going on. Now, let's stick with the dad story. So we've got 20 people that want to hear from a father, and a father is coming through, and he's, directly connected to an individual. We've gone through the evidence, we've gone through the facts, and we know exactly who we're speaking with, right? And out of the 20 people, 5 others say, wow, a lot of that sounds like my dad. Like I could relate to many of those things. Chances are you can. Now, here is why it's important to listen into a group, because even though there's a direct connection with a dad and let's just say his daughter in the audience, and there's the 5 other daughters that also want to hear from their dad, and there's similarities amongst them. What's happening in the spirit world, it's as though they know how to get their messages through to all of the 5 individuals that have similarities. So I hope I'm explaining that well. It's a little bit complicated and it could be a little bit confusing, but we are speaking with smart individuals on the other side. They know what is needed and they know how to get it through. So when you go to a group, whether it's whether it's an intimate, a smaller group, or a large group, really do yourself a favor and don't just sit back and go, well, I'm not getting read right now. Listen, because if your father doesn't have the ability in that moment to directly connect with you, or your father is a very private person and wouldn't show up in a group, but he still wants to get the message to you, he'll piggyback that message onto another father on the other side to get it through. So it's very complex, it's very layered, it's very rich in information, and we learn so much by also listening to other people getting read, because there's always lessons and information coming in from the other side. So when you think about it that way, hopefully you can understand the richness of everybody being together in a scenario for a group reading. Now, how many people get read in a group reading? That differs. It differs on the medium. It differs on the night or day of the event. It differs on how, you know, those communicating from the other side. You know, I can say for myself, I've been known to read up to 20 people in a larger group scenario. That's a lot of people. Granted, some of them might be together, but I've been known to do, I mean, I think up to 20 readings. Very quick. You know, in a larger group, it's going to be short, 4 minutes, 5 minutes per connection on the other side. So you're moving at a very fast pace. And some nights, it just seems to the people on the other side, the connection is just so strong, so clear, that you're in this very strong vibrational flow. And it allows you just to go person after person after person after person, until, at least this is what happens for me, my guides will give me a notification of one more. And that will be, that my guides will be controlling that, and those on the other side will be controlling that and say, okay, you've got one more. And this has to do basically with the energy of the medium, but also the energy of the connection with the other side. That connection can only stay so long. So we may want that connection all day long, but in actuality, those on the other side have to come down a little bit, and the medium has to come up. And in that space, meeting in the middle, sometimes referred to as meeting in the power or standing in the power, because that it feels like that, frankly. We only have so much time that we can hold that. And so I can't speak for every medium, you know, but there are some times where, you know, in a larger group, there might be 12 readings, there might be 20 readings, there might be 8, depending. Everybody is different, and the connections are different, and the flow is different. So that's why maybe if you go to 10 groups, large groups with the same medium, you say, oh, that's funny, you read so many people this night, and the other night it's not as many. So there's just so much involved, not only on the medium side, but really on the other side's place as well.